I'd like to call the meeting to order. I'm Tim Cavanaugh, Chairman of the Metropolitan Utilities District Board of Directors, and I'd like to welcome you all to the committee meetings this afternoon, July 2 of 2025. This meeting is being live streamed from the boardroom at M.U.D headquarters building located at 7350 World Communications Drive. A recording of this meeting will be uploaded to the M.U.D website after the meeting's conclusion. I'd like to invite Vice President of Safety and Security, Shane Hunter, to provide a briefing regarding protocol for all individuals in attendance at the board meeting today in the event of an emergency. Shane?
Yes, good afternoon. Shane Hunter, Vice President of Safety and Security. We are on the first floor here at M.U.D in our headquarters building. Normal entry and exit is through these doors to the rear of the room, but there's also an alternate exit here on the right, and it's through that door you'll find a central hallway. That hallway is our severe weather shelter. In that same hallway, you'll find the nearest fire extinguisher and first aid kit, and a little further down on the right, you'll find the nearest AED. With the location of that AED in mind, show of hands, CPR and AED trained. Thank you. Should there be a medical emergency in this space today, 911 will be contacted by the security officers at the desk, who will then escort EMS personnel into this space. If we need to leave this room for any reason, you can use any of the doors. If we need to evacuate this building for any reason, we'll use this door here on the right, take two lefts, and end up in the parking garage for accountability. That concludes the safety briefing.
Thank you. Roll call.
Cook. Here. Friend.
Here.
Sidzik. McGowan.
Here.
Howard. Here. Kavanaugh.
Here.
Begley.
Here. I would like to advise all those in attendance that a copy of the Open Meetings Act is available on the wall in the back of the boardroom. C&O, Senior Vice President, and COO Kendall Miner will review the proposed capital expenditures behind tab 5.
Good afternoon. For this month's board meeting, we have 0 items for buildings, plants, and equipment. We have 4 items for system improvements. This afternoon, I am going to discuss just one item. It's the streetcar-related item for relocating water mains. Those are at Farnham and Harney Street between 8th and 28th, and Farney and Capitol between 8th and 10th. This is to replace water mains that are in conflict with the streetcar project. This is phase 3 or 4 phases to be completed. With the water mains, Hawkins was awarded this project by the city for $26 million, $26 million total. The $20.8 million is Hawkins work they're going to be doing. The differential between that, it will be M.U.D's cost that falls within the cap of the $7.6 million agreement that we have between M.U.D and the city. So that work is going to be really completed. A lot of the engineering design has been done through HGM, as well as some of the inspections as well. So Masania is going to come up and talk about that during the next presentation. But this is consistent with the field inspection and documentation that's required for construction processes that align with the district standards. And with that, I'll open it up for any questions, concerns, thoughts. I will also like to communicate that Jeff Skovanik has been named the Director of Special Projects. He will be focusing on the streetcar project on M.U.D's behalf. All streetcar-related things, from documentation, from engineering design, all those things that we're going to be doing, as well as any change order tracking, anything that's going to be needed streetcar. Jeff is stepping up to take that responsibility for the district. So really appreciate Jeff being able to do that for us. I think it's going to streamline our process a lot better. I think we'll have a lot more engagement. I think it'll cut down on some of the confusion that's been communicated. Probably not as well as we would like for it to be communicated, but we're going to work towards having a better solution in the future. And also, I'll be remiss to say that this is Steph Hand's last board meeting. She is retiring after 30 years of service. So I wanted to say thank you, Steph, for all your hard work. I tell everybody I wish I could clone her 10 times and have 10 Steph Hands because she does such a great job. She has a wealth of knowledge and experience. So we're definitely going to miss her. So I wanted to make sure I acknowledged her. But Director Franny, you have a question?
I do. I just wanted to underscore, and I don't know, Mark Doyle, if this is something that you want to address or if Kendall Miner wants to address it. I just want to underscore my understanding. This project under number 4 for the streetcar is something that we would have done, maybe not right now, but it was in our plan in the next, I can't remember if it's 3 years or 5 years. In other words, we're not doing this just because of the streetcar. We're doing this because it was a part of our infrastructure replacement, upgrade, whatever. We may have moved it up on the calendar, but it's
Correct.
not just because of the streetcar, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question, Director Friend. Yes, that's the case with all of our work. The cap, as Kendall mentioned, is still in play, and the commitment that we made with board approval, and really more than board approval from board direction, is that we would take care of anything that we would have done in 15 years in our risk assessment model, which I think is generous. And that was a nice compromise. And beyond that, we're watching this very closely. We will communicate differently if we need to, but we're meeting regularly. We now have, I've met with the new mayor twice for pretty good, solid, long conversations in person. And we now have a commitment that we're going to have recurring meetings with at least Kendall and I, Mayor Ewing, and Chief of Staff Tom Warren at least. So I don't want to get into any of this. We don't know, you don't know. So we're going to do everything we can to clear that up and not just follow board directive, which is the case, but to protect our customers from costs that wouldn't otherwise have been borne on them had it not been for streetcar. So thank you for the question.
Masania, Vice President of Engineering. I just want to add a point of clarity to that. This work is the work that's in conflict with the water mains in the East Utilities Package. So as Mr. Minor mentioned, from 8th Street all the way out west towards I-480, it does include some work that involves what's in our 15-year window for infrastructure replacement work, but it also includes some of the other mains that we wouldn't touch that may be in conflict. And when I say conflict, it's underneath the tracks. So we need to maintain access to that. Those are mains we would not have replaced in the next 15 years, but because of that, because of the streetcar, that's how we established that $7.6 million term agreement. So I just wanted to add that detail.
So that's not what I understood. If I just think I understood what you said, Masa. We're moving things because of the streetcar that were not on at our cost?
Not at our cost.
Okay, that's
No.
what I wanted to make sure.
No.
I misunderstood.
Nope, yeah, there's a lot of detail here, but no, we aren't. Sometimes it's a little difficult to explain, not to the board, but others, why they may not look like they're in direct conflict, but they are. There are aspects to this, and we're going to do a better job of laying all that out for anyone that's interested. Fair? No,
Thank you.
Your assumption is correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you, guys.
Steph, congratulations on 30 years. That didn't just get by us, we did hear that. So, gosh, you've been here longer, well, than I have, and about as long as Mark. Not quite.
Has it only been 33? That's what I asked.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to, I hadn't planned on saying anything, but thank you for the the kudos. This has been just a wonderful opportunity, and I'm so grateful and thankful to have the opportunity now to retire and go on to other things. And my plans are to just live a whole lot of life with my family and to have we're so fortunate to have a pension and all of those wonderful benefits in order for me to do that. And so I appreciate all of your support, all of these folks' support, and my wonderful husband these are great jobs. They're also challenging jobs. And so our families are a big part of that. So thank you so much for everything.
Stephanie, people ask me how I like retirement. My standard answer is best job I ever had. So
I'm looking
enjoy
forward to
it.
that. I'm looking forward to figuring that out.
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks so
between you
much.
and Mark, there's some big shoes to fill that we're saying goodbye to here. Yes.
Thank you.
Oh,
I very
thank you.
much appreciate it.
Let's see, Masa, do you have more to add for tab 6? No? Okay, let's move on.
Yes, he does. He does.
Oh, he does? Okay.
Sorry for that wrong answer. I do have things to add for tab 6, not for Mr. Minor's CapEx letter. So Masania, Vice President of Engineering. Behind tab 6, you'll find the letter for HGM Consultant Services for streetcar-related water main construction. The district project management inspection staff have been able to support the ongoing construction-related activities included within the West Utilities and Bridges packages. These 2 packages are currently in construction and scheduled for completion in December of 2025 and December of 2026, respectively. There are 2 packages remaining, the one Mr. Minor presented, the East Utilities, as well as the Turner Boulevard scopes that also includes relocation of our water mains. The East Utilities package was bid by the City of Omaha just this past month and will include multiple water main crews working simultaneously to meet the city's aggressive schedule to be complete by March of 2027. The Turner Boulevard package will be bid later this year, with construction starting this winter, occurring until early 2027. Your approval is requested to supplement our staff to meet the needs brought to us by streetcar construction to support the upcoming water main work, as our staff is fully allocated. I will mention that we will still have a district engineer and technicians engaged with streetcar, but these additional resources are needed to meet the schedule of the streetcar and make sure all the tasks needed for the project are completed. The cost of these services, along with other streetcar-related district costs that are in the excess of the $7.6 million previously approved by the board, will be billed to the city for reimbursement. And that is all I have to cover on this one. Would be happy to answer any questions.
It's a related question. They're anticipating that these kinds of costs will come along with their bills based on the conversations you've had and you know about. They're not going to act surprised that we've had to take on additional consulting to administer.
They're aware of needs for construction support, and we have shared this information with the City of Omaha. Yes. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Director of Plant Engineering, Trevor Tonages, will review acceptance of contracts and payment of final estimates behind tab 7.
Good afternoon. Trevor Tonages, Director of Plant Engineering. Behind tab 7 for the acceptance of contracts and final pay estimates, this month we have a total of 9 projects to final for you. I'll just highlight a couple of them here. Item A is the 8th and final project of the 2023 Gas IR program projects. So we finally got everything, final payments ready to go and everything buttoned up on that. This particular one was about a mile of 4-inch and 3.5 miles of 2-inch main that was installed. And the work was successfully completed by Q3. So we're excited to have that one wrapped up, and they're progressing along with this year's projects very nicely. Items E and F were projects for the Platte West Water Production Facility. These 2 were driven by regulatory compliance with NDEE, now DWEE. And they involved rehabilitation and modification of some thrust restraints in the well fields on both the Douglas and Saunders County sides. That one was completed by New Earth Construction. And then the second one was for a process dechlorination system, and this was used to treat residual wastewater before discharging that back into wetlands near the well fields. The new system that was installed helps the operational staff by automating existing manual treatment processes that they were having to do to maintain that compliance with DWE. This project was completed and approved by the state of Nebraska NDE and is now operational, and it was completed by Hawkins Construction. And that's all I have unless there's any questions. Okay, jumping to tab 8. This is change order 1 for the Platte West Water Production Facility dechlorination project that was just discussed. This one was for the Hawkins contract, and it's a change order for an additional $27,215, which represents about 3% of the total contract value of $885,000. There's 7 items bundled together within this change order. They're all related to changes and additions in instrumentation and control systems to support the operational needs. So we worked closely with the operational staff out there to make sure that the new system is going to function the way that they need it to. All of those were complete, and the final NDE inspection is also completed. So, any questions on that? Okay, that's all I have for you. Thank you.
Vice President of Procurement and Enterprise Services, John Zellers, will now review the bids on materials and contracts behind tab 9.
Good afternoon. John Zellers, Vice President, Procurement and Enterprise Services. I will be speaking to tab 9. There are just a couple items I'd like to discuss, and the first may be found at the bottom of page 1. We are requesting a ratification of the purchase of 126 feet of Class 52 restrained joint ductile iron pipe required for an active water main relocation project associated with a city sewer separation project. Of the 4 bidders, the purchase was made with Core and Main, as they were the only bidder that had the pipe in stock and available for immediate delivery. The last item, or last couple items, may be found at the bottom of page 4. We are recommending the extensions of the contract with Penco for ferric sulfate at Platte South and Platte West. In 2024, we received bids for ferric sulfate in which Penco was the lowest of the 4 bids received. At that time, their bid represented a 25% decrease than what we were paying over the previous year, and they have agreed to hold pricing and terms for the next year. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
You might need to phone a friend on this one, Mr. Zellers.
Okay.
Under the IT category on page 2 of 4, the top of that item is audio-video upgrade to Platte West and Florence. And it lists the 2 bidders. What are we upgrading? Software? Is it hardware? What's the upgrade?
So the upgrade are for 3 conference rooms, 2 of them at Platte West and 1 at Florence, and it is to bring those conference rooms up to the level of technology that we have in our others, and that's specifically that WebEx platform. So we'll be able to do that, that conferencing and so forth, video conferencing.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
I'm impressed that you knew that, too. Good for you.
Services and Extensions, Vice President of Engineering Masania will now review the proposed main extensions behind tab 11.
Good afternoon again. Masania, Vice President of Engineering. The main extensions letter behind tab 11 includes 1 water main extension this month. The impact of the water main extension includes water service and fire protection to 1 newly platted multifamily lot. We've got a map here to show where this project is at. It's the Dunham House development located west of 60th Street between King Street and Craig Avenue. You can see the golf course, Omaha Country Club there in the picture, so give you a relative location to where this development's at. The Dunham House will be an assisted living facility for combat wounded veterans. I'd like to highlight the infill main policy, which is a mechanism to pay to install the remainder of the mains south of Craig Avenue, shown on the map there. This will interconnect the distribution system for improved flows and reliability to the area. If I did a better job of showing this map, you'd be able to see the long water services, or what we call private water lines that come north off of Potter Street, where there's a water main serving the homes to the east side of 60th Street. So there's about a half block of homes there, and the infill's part of extending the main in front of those homes. So when we talk about the infill policy, various factors are considered when engineering evaluates this to allow those private lines and forego that main extension. For private line approvals, we don't anticipate main extensions will ever be needed, but occasionally that happens. Decisions were made by engineering and management when the water services were requested to allow the private lines and not require a main extension at that point. In this situation, it was beneficial as the main would be nearly 80 years old and would be thin-walled, higher risk cast iron, likely needing replacement in the coming years. So we appreciate the board's support on the infill main policy and how it gives management the capabilities to evaluate what's in the best interest of our distribution system and our customers. That is all I have to present on the mains letter, and would be happy to answer any questions.
Masa, I do have a question for you going back to tab 6. If you could just briefly, what's the difference between what JEO does on inspections and HGM is going to do on this streetcar-related water main construction?
Sure. Yeah. JEO, as the board is aware, is our inspector for many new developments and transmission mains. So they do work in more of the greenfield areas of our system, and so they provide that contract service support for us. So on the streetcar project, HGM will be providing that construction oversight as well, and also dealing with more of the nuances with intercity main extension work, which there's a lot of requests for information coming from the contractor out there. Things happen in the field where they need to move a line, and timely communication needs to happen as far as how it might impact other planned work going on in the same corridor. So they're managing a lot of that, as well as assisting with just oversight of our work. So they'll be working closely with our team.
So is there a higher level of expertise or expected performance between the two? Because I understand what you just said, but if the person's, maybe I'm dumbing this down too much, like a field engineer or an inspector that we have, is there a difference between inspecting new pipe and the construction and inspecting rehab or relocation?
Yeah, the scope is much different. There's a lot more interaction with the other parties involved with streetcar, and that's where we find efficiencies with HGM. They are very familiar with the streetcar design, the streetcar project. They've been engaged with this for the last several years. So there are significant, I would say, differences between inspection that JEO performs and what we're proposing for HGM in the streetcar project.
So if we were to look in the future at some urban core similar to the streetcar but not related for that reason to move the pipe, would we expect to pay more if we were going to hire HGM or anybody for these services than we do JEO for, I think you used the term greenfield, which I assume means new construction, less population density, et cetera? Are we going to pay more for that expertise if we would hire one group versus the other in the future?
Well, this one, we went straight to HGM, and we didn't go out for proposals given the time frame needed to respond to the city on this. But the cost, as we looked at it and reviewed it, would be very similar to what our cost would be for our internal support on the streetcar project. So it's hard for me to answer that question, how to compare if another entity on a future project would be cheaper. But HGM's experience on this project, there's certainly an advantage there, and efficiencies and cost savings having them perform this work for us.
Do these positions, whether it's a JEO person or a HGM person, require a stamp for them to be inspecting? By that I mean an engineering stamp. Do they have to be an engineer?
No, they don't have to be an engineer, but they are talking with the engineer of record who has the stamp on the drawings, who is with HGM, to make sure that the designs are meeting standards, meeting requirements and regulations. But the field folks do not require an engineer license.
And the hourly fee for the person through HGM is being billed back to the general contractor, who is, I don't know if the city owns it, but I don't know if they're the general or not.
We're receiving the bill, so we're overseeing the work, and that's why it's being brought in front of this board. But those bills will be collected as part of the overall streetcar-related costs that we're accounting for and working with the city to make sure that our customer owners aren't taking on more than that $7.6 million total cost.
No, I'm happy about that. I'm just wanting to make sure that we're not, if we're using a company that's more expensive, and I don't know that HGM is, I'm not. Okay, so I just want to make sure the city or someone else doesn't say, well, wait a minute, JEO does X, you got HGM doing X, we view it as the same thing, but you're charging us more for HGM services than you are JEOs, if it's maybe not same, but I'm just trying to educate myself.
Thinking out loud, Mark Doyle, president. this is, I'm going to use a bad analogy. This would be like wallpapering a bathroom versus a bedroom. It's two different things. The work is more complex. Not to say JEO couldn't do it, but HGM is a trusted partner that we've been working with for how long now? Doesn't really
Over
matter.
a decade.
Okay, over a decade. They're actually an extension of our design team. I don't know, JEO, if I would say it the same way, but doing the new, that's truly an outsource, I would say. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but we've been talking about this a lot, as opposed to this work, which is really an extension of our staff. And if we weren't forced to increase our workload internally because of streetcar by, I don't know the percentage, but it's large, we would rather do this ourselves. I'm just saying, but.
You mean the inspection
Yes.
that HGM, because that's what I was going to say. It's probably too late now, but this goes along the same conversations we had with the JEO, having outside contractors provide services that, and maybe it's not the exact same, but I equate it in my head to an inspector or a field engineer who's overseeing construction work.
Yeah, we couldn't do it. I mean, we wish we could. This has really been a, other than making sure that we abide by the cap, staffing this is really tough. I mean, we would never go out and expand all the staff we needed by 50% just to do this, because there's an end here. So, and HGM, they do feel like an extension of our staff by now.
They do, yeah. And they've provided construction services for other areas as well, so they've got a wealth of experience in that area. And just to put a scope to the magnitude of work going on with the East Utilities package, as Mr. Minor presented, we have $20.8 million worth of water main work. The overall scope of the city's bid was $72 million, and this is all being constructed and needs to be, their schedule is to have it all complete by the spring of 2027. So a very small window to get a lot of work done. They're going to have multiple crews out there, and it's much more than inspection. It's a lot of project coordination. They've got a project manager assigned as part of this scope, and everything will be billed on a actual basis. So if they're not working on the project, they aren't billing towards the work. So these are estimates, but based on estimated hours that they need to assign to this project to keep up with the streetcar project.
And if we're not working on the project, like you probably read in the article, if we remobilize a crew, which we did recently for good reason, we did it in a safe way where that was done. We just didn't start a new one. So to say we just pulled off is not the way I would say it. That's a whole different thing. But when, Masa just mentioned, if they're not working on this, they're not billing for this, they being HGM or any partner. Same with us. If we pull off, that crew went to something very important and that they could have been doing anyway. So we're also in a different way. Now, some of the things that are occurring that we're going to do a better job of communicating, what did you say the schedule was for the Utility East package?
Complete by
27?
spring of 2027.
The kind of work we're doing, we only have so many summers and winters here to do it. For example, the 10th and Capitol gas project, which became a little bit of a internal issue for us, we were forced to do that in the wintertime because of the College World Series. We would never choose to do that in the wintertime. We brought in bottle trucks from Northern. We had to work overtime. We had to shut down hotels. Fortunately, not Christmas week. It turned out to be the week after, but we had to watch the weather and be real nimble. That costs a lot more to do it that way. So we're going to do a better job of explaining that we are absolutely only charging costs that were incurred for the work we do. Now, if we're not communicating well enough, I'm good with taking that criticism. We'll do better. But we are not doing anything other than what we should be doing. Little drawn out there, director friend, but there's a lot to this. Like the concern over summers and winters. There's a water main down in Turner Boulevard that's a lifeline for our water distribution system. You can't do that in the summer. And if so we're really working really hard on this. All eyes are on it. And I think we've been a really good partner.
I'm going to say something. I know we can't go back in time travel, but now I'm wishing we would have added to the $7.6 million figure this increase, the displacement of our planned workers and bringing on folks. I wish people understood that.
You mean like
more.
HGM?
Correct, or just the fact that it's not only that dollar figure that is impacted, or other things that we had planned with our models, but people having to be more nimble, crews having to, work differently from what is ideal for our profession.
And I would say if we could have foreseen those things, we would have, but we are billing for those things. And just like the work with HGM, we would have done that if our staff was 50% larger. It's not, the reason it's being called out is because it's an engagement with a third party. If that was us, you would just see it in our, you know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yep.
It's more noticeable because we're augmenting.
Right.
Yes, but it is being billed. We want to be, there's, transparency is real important here.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Vice President of Human Resources, Bonnie Savine, will now review employee wage and/or salary increases and ratifications behind tab 12. Bonnie?
Good afternoon. Bonnie Savine, Vice President, Human Resources. I will recap employee counts briefly. At the end of June 2024, we had 894 regular full-time employees, and we had 4 regular part-time employees. So we ended June 30th, 2024 with 898 regular employees. To end this June, we had 910 regular full-time employees, and we also had 3 regular part-time employees. So 913 regular employees, but we also had 33 temporary part-time employees. That consists of 14 interns and 19 summer hires. So total at the end of this June on our payroll was 946. A quick review of jobs actively in various stages of placement. We have 7 jobs that have a requisition routing. Those are being reviewed for approval to begin the posting process. We have 5 jobs that comprise 9 vacancies. Those are posted externally right now. Those were all posted internally initially, and we are now seeking additional outside candidates because we didn't have internal candidates or we didn't fill all of the positions internally. We have 12 jobs in the application review or interview stage, and we have 3 jobs with 5 selected candidates going through background checks and drug screens and other onboarding activities. And behind tab 12, you'll find the wage and/or salary increases and ratifications letter. Human Resources is recommending the Board of Directors approve wage or salary increases for 12 employees this month. 8 of our OAC employees are being promoted through the standard job posting and promotion process. We also have 3 OAC employees receiving a wage increase due to a natural job promotion. So that is in line of their job family. And we have 1 OAC employee being promoted into an SPA job, our supervisor in meter services, and that was due to a retirement. The last thing you'll see in that letter is a request to ratify the salary of 2 new hires in the SPA group. Are there any questions? Thanks.
Thank you, Bonnie. Are there any members of the public in attendance today who would like to address the board? Seeing none, do any board members have any further comments at this time? Jim?
Mr. Chair, I just want to welcome and introduce, for those of you who don't know, I'm sure everybody in this room does, but IBW 1521 had elections this summer, and I'd like to welcome the new president, Jerry Anderson, and new vice president, Mark Ryer. We'll be seeing them at every monthly meeting, and I also want to thank Terry Kroll and Tom Todd for their wonderful years of service representing 1521, and looking forward to working with you gentlemen.
Thank you, Director Begley. We're looking forward to keeping a good relationship going. I think we're open, they're open. The more we talk, the better it is. And thank you for recognizing our two new leadership members of the union.
The other previous leadership, is Terry retired or anything? Did they?
I won't speak for Terry, but I'm quite certain she has not retired. Okay. Am I correct? Yes. Yeah, we keep in touch quite closely because we're pretty close to the same vintage. So, no, she's still here. She'd laugh if she were here. And Tom's still here, too.
Director Kavanaugh, I have one thing. Jim, my favorite question to you almost every month is LNG. We're in the middle of the summer. How's the LNG liquefaction going with the new facility? What's the depth of the LNG and everything working fine?
Jim Knight, Vice President of Gas Operations. We completed the spring liquefaction run about the second week of May, and we're in very good shape. We typically don't liquefy during the summer months from June through September 15th because of much higher electricity costs. And so then we'll finish off liquefaction starting September 16th. We have about, 4 to 6 weeks to top her off.
How do we end up the season with the LNG inventory?
We're in good shape. We're in very good shape.
Compared to other years?
Oh, about average, about normal.
Thank you.
You bet.
Okay, this meeting is now concluded. We will reconvene the regular board meeting at 1:50 p.m.
Turn this off.
Okay, Jay, turn it on.
Sorry, I was running late.
No, it's okay. I would like to call the meeting to order. I'm Tim Cavanaugh, Chairman of the Metropolitan Utilities District Board of Directors, and I'd like to welcome you all to the regular monthly board meeting this afternoon, July 2nd, 2025. This meeting is being live streamed from the boardroom at the M.U.D headquarters building located 7350 World Communications Drive. And recording of this meeting will be uploaded to the M.U.D website after the meeting's conclusion. Roll call, please.
Cook.
Here.
Friend.
Here.
Sidzik. McGowan.
Here.
Howard.
Here.
Kavanaugh.
Here.
Begley.
Here.
Open Meetings Act. I would like to advise those in attendance that a copy of the Open Meetings Act is available on the wall in the back of the boardroom. And now for those who wish to participate, we will recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 4, approval of minutes for the committee meetings and regular board meeting for June 4, 2025. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Cook.
Yes.
Friend.
Yes.
McGowan.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Begley.
Yes.
Item 5, capital expenditures. Director Friend.
Thank you. This was discussed in committee. I move approval as outlined in the memo from Kendall Minor dated June 27th.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Cook.
Yes.
Friend.
Yes.
McGowan.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Begley.
Yes.
Item 6, Dave.
Thank you. Item number 6 also discussed in committee. Consulting services on water main construction, coordination, and observation. I move approval as outlined in the memo from Masa Nia dated June 27th.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Cook.
Yes.
Friend.
Yes.
McGowan.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Begley.
Yes.
Item 7, Dave Friend.
Thank you. Acceptance of contracts, payment of final estimates discussed in committee. I move approval as outlined in the memo from Trevor Tonagis dated June 23rd.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Cook.
Yes.
Friend.
Yes.
McGowan.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Begley.
Yes.
Item number 8, change order number 1, Platte West Water Production Facility, discussed in committee. I move approval as outlined in the memo from Trevor Tonagis dated June 11th.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Cook.
Yes.
Friend.
Yes.
McGowan.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Begley.
Yes.
Item number 9, bids on materials and contracts, also discussed in committee. I move approval as outlined in the memo from Sherry Lightfoot dated June 23rd.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Cook.
Yes.
Friend.
Yes.
McGowan.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Begley.
Yes.
Item number 10, notice of purchases between $25,000 and $50,000 be placed on file. And if I may, Mr. Chair, I'll jump into services and extensions.
Please do.
Item number 11, main extensions discussed in committee. I move approval as outlined in the memo from Masa Nia dated June 25th.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Cook.
Yes.
Friend.
Yes.
McGowan.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Begley.
Yes.
Item 12, wage and salary increase ratifications. Director Begley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move for approval of the wage and/or salary increases and ratifications as discussed in committee this afternoon and outlined in Ms. Savine's memo dated June 20, 2025.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Cook.
Yes.
Friend.
Yes.
McGowan.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Begley.
Yes.
Other matters for district business for discussion. Do any board members or management have any further comments they wish to share? Your light's on.
I'm sorry.
Well, my light's on. Mark Doyle, President. I know Mr. Myers probably doesn't want me to recognize him, but as we say, it's more for us than for you, Mark, if you don't mind. We've had some nice time to talk and debrief, and Mark's been here for a little over a decade, and I can't believe how time flies. As you know, we made a change several years back, quite a few years back, when we brought Deb in as CFO. Deb brought Joe, and Deb brought Mark probably before he was VP of Accounting. Joe moves up, Mark moves up, new person in his role below him, and now we're faced with another change. And I would say because of Deb, Joe, and especially Mark, this transition is not as worrisome for me because it's such an important role as it would have been had not for Mark agreeing to step up, even though he only had 2 years left before he retires. So he had the honor to say, you know, I don't think it would be fair to you if I'm only staying for 2 years. Well, 2 years goes by quick, way quicker than I wish it would, but that 2 years was so critically important to keep the momentum going on the budget side and the finance side and preparing internal staff for, you know, what ultimately became the promotion of Steve Dickus into the role. But I would tell you that Mark's forte is not just accounting and finance. And you know, Deb was different than Joe. Joe's different than Mark. Mark has such a steadfast, professional demeanor. He's forceful in such a professional way. I found that staff goes out of their way to work with Mark and use him as a resource. I really could go on and on. It's been, you know, such a nice thing for me because these senior roles, when they turn over, it's difficult. You know, the interaction with the board and carrying out your directives are so important. So I think I'd leave it at, Mark, thank you for sticking around a little longer. Now you'll have time to do the things you deserve to do and probably some things you don't know you're going to do. And I think I'll go with Director McGowan saying it's probably going to be the best job you've ever had, although this one's hard to top. So thank you, Mark, for your leadership, dedication, and sticking around.
Thank you for those comments, and I speak for all of us. We're going to miss you. What a critical role you filled here. And I told you before the meeting that you have the trust of the board, and that is, we really, really cherish that trust. It makes or breaks this utility.
It does.
It really does. So thank you and best wishes. Any members of the public present who would like to address the board?
That would be Mark in a couple days. So I'm going to.
Well, here he comes.
See.
Wait, you're not a member of the public yet.
No, he's not. And he won't be for a little while. Yeah.
Good speech.
Thank you.
Mark was kind of coaxing me up here, so
I kind of
go. No, thank you all. It's really been a privilege filling this role as Chief Financial Officer for the last 2 years and for serving the district for 10. It's been a pleasure working with all of you. I appreciate all the support you've provided to me over the years, everyone else here. And I really want to thank especially the accounting team. They don't get a lot of credit, but they do a lot of hard work in the back end and deserve a lot of the credit for the success that we've had financially here. And I want to recognize them as well. So thank you all. It's been a pleasure, and I wish you all the best going forward. Thanks.
Thank you.
Any more members of the public that wish to speak? We will not have a closed session today, so we will entertain a moment to adjourn, or motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion, roll call.
Cook?
Yes.
Friend?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes?
Howard?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Begley?
Yes.
We are adjourned.